Three, two, one. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Somewhat of a shorter live stream today. I ended up having a live stream last night. I was out here till about 1 p.m. So yours truly, I'm a tad bit exhausted after such a late evening live. I think we were out here up to about 1 in the morning. A lot of topics came up. The live certainly went on well beyond what my elder years are capable of. But I was around. I held my ground, earned my keep, and we did maintain a live stream till about 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. last night. So we're going to be discussing a couple issues here. Actually, more than a couple issues. We'll start out by talking about President Biden's economy. There are no shortage of Americans that think Biden's economy is awful, think his economy sucks, believe that folks can barely afford groceries, inflation's off the chain, and they can barely get by. So what I want to ask you folks, I want to get to the root of things. I want to find out from you, from the folks, is the hype real? Is the economy as bad as folks on the right genuinely state it is? Or is it indeed hype? Is it indeed a message from Biden's detractors to simply make him look bad? So we're going to be talking about Biden's economy. By the way, Biden just got a bipartisan bill passed. The Ukraine will now receive military aid. I don't know if you believe that's a good thing or not, but it has been successfully completed. Biden just got something done. But we're going to be talking about Biden's economy. In addition to the economy under President Biden, we got to talk about the judge issuing gag orders to President Trump. It appears as if he has indeed violated the gag order. But I want to ask you folks, do you believe a judge should punish or discipline Trump at all? If so, how? If Trump is, let's say, put on ice, we're talking about incarcerated for a day or two, do you believe that might help his presidential campaign? Simple question, what should the judge do if President Trump continues to violate the gag order, irrespective of what the judge is telling him? In other words, I don't give a damn what you say, Your Honor. I am going to speak freely as I wish. Irrespective of anything you advise me to say, I'm going to speak the way I want. Should the judge allow that to continue? If not, what would you suggest the judge do? Because it is a delicate line. I mean, we're talking about potentially locking up a former president of the United States with an incredible amount of popularity. At this time, Trump is probably the most well-known American currently in existence. Probably by far the most well-known American in existence is President Trump. Would it be safe to lock him up? How might the public react if President Trump was in some jail somewhere? So we're going to be talking about those two topics. As a side topic, just want to point out there's so many colleges. Novocaine, yeah! Thank you for the hat and mustache. Always a pleasure. There's a lot of colleges, elite colleges, Ivy League colleges or universities that are currently deep in protest. Thank you for the shades, DJ Julio. Deep in protest about what's going on in Israel. What could Biden do? What should Biden do? Do you think Trump would handle that conflict better? Perhaps would he appease what those students want? What say you? So going to the box, we'll go straight out. As you know, the program is always will remain MAGA friendly. That's how we run the program from day one. That's how we always will run the program. It is indeed MAGA friendly. MAGA are my preferred guests. What do we say? We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. So if you disagree with someone in the comment section, or if you disagree with the host, no one gives a damn. The program is all about free speech. So right off the bat, looking in the comments, the Army is getting deployed in Jordan. Is that true? I mean, that's neighboring Israel to the east. They're deploying the U.S. Army into Jordan. Wow. things may have stepped up a bit. When Trump was president, the economy was doing well, even in COVID. Nobody was working. Who stated that? I think it says Kumar. No one was working. How could you suggest that the economy was doing well with Trump as president, even during COVID? They were sending out free money. Is that what you consider a well-performing economy? Everything's closed. They're sending free checks to people. That's a good economy, huh? Looking in the comments, Trump 2024 will be president again in Jesus' name. How many of you believe that the deity, Jesus, God himself, is going to bless our election in November by re-electing Trump? You believe Jesus has a say-so in the election process in America? How many of you folks believe that? You think Jesus is paying attention to how we put in a commander-in-chief? Okay. Going straight to the box. Wow, that's an interesting question. That's really interesting. Jesus, my subscriber, got to go with the subscriber first. Pat Carlson, good afternoon, Pat.
Good afternoon there, liberal. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You think Jesus is going to bless our election?
No.
I saw it. I had to run with it.
Okay, so, all right, but we'll start with the economy.
Sure.
Okay, Trump inherited the economy from Biden. The same as every
Wait. Who did he inherit it from?
From, Obama.
Okay.
Sorry.
I heard Biden.
I'm starting to sound like Trump and not know who there is. He inherited it from Obama, the same as every other president.
Right.
They inherit the economy from the president before.
Mm-hmm.
The economy.
Before you continue, what was the condition of that economy that Trump inherited?
I believe it was pretty good in economy. I was getting good freight. I'm a truck driver.
Okay.
So I was getting good freight rates and everything else. Since the pandemic, everything has went to hell. The economy, or the world basically got shut down. You look at anything that you purchase in the stores now, the size has decreased.
And the prices
went up. Has increased, and people say, "Oh, that's responsible of the president." Well, let's go off of that. Well, when Trump was in office and the economy took the dive and the pandemic started, people were selling rolls of toilet paper for $5 a roll.
Price gouging.
You don't just turn the economy around overnight. They say, well, the president can stop the cost of inflation. No, the president can't take and tell people, these manufacturing companies, hey, quit price gouging. You're gouging the American people.
So let me get this clear. It sounds like you're saying that President Trump, if he was elected, he can't do a damn thing about the cost of these prices right now.
No, that if they really want something done about the cost, it's not up to the president. It's up to Congress and Senate. They're the ones that have to pass the bill. Then the president can sign it. But if the Congress and Senate aren't going to work together to get their heads out of their asses and actually do something for we the people, it ain't going to happen. I don't care what, you can say it all you want. Oh, it's the president. It's the president. The president doesn't have the power that people seem to think he does. Yeah. It's the Congress and the Senate. The president only signs the bills. Yeah, he can make some executive orders.
What about gas prices, though?
Even with gas prices, the president doesn't control the gas prices. That's OPEC that controls the gas prices.
It's interesting because so many folks that support Trump seem to think otherwise. I want to take you back a step. This may be a bit comical, but in the beginning of our discussion, we talked about whether God or Jesus will bless our election. Mark Inns on YouTube, we run simultaneously on both platforms. Right. Mark Inns said talking about Jesus, he has written what will occur, and we are seeing scripture fulfilled by bringing back Trump.
That's, you can take any scripture in the Bible and you can spin it any way you want to make it fit your needs. It's the same as anything else. You can spin anything you want. The pandemic, it has been spun 50 ways from everywhere, the right spins it their way, the left spins it their way, the medium spins it their way. You can spin anything the way you want.
So then let me ask you this. So if you're suggesting that Trump is not likely to give us any better of an economy than Joe Biden, who do you think would be a better commander-in-chief going forward in November? I mean, are you suggesting that maybe Biden is a better president?
My personal opinion is they're both too old, first of all.
Okay.
We need somebody young in there.
All right.
But the fact of the matter is, Trump, he did this tax break that everybody is just, oh, look at the tax break. He gave the rich people and the big businesses the big tax break, not the people. A matter of fact, the tax break for the lower class people ended or is ending, where the ones for the rich continues to go on. So Trump is not out for we the people. He's out for his cronies.
Then why does MAGA, which is represented by a lot of average, hardworking people, just like most groups, MAGA has a lot of folks that are not making a killing. They're working, going, tax-paying citizens. They seem to think that he is for the working man.
No, he's not. And if you look at it, at the tax breaks and everything he did, no, he's not. If you want to really deal with the tax issues, then do across-the-board taxes. If you're going to say, just for the sake of argument, let's say that you make $100 and that tax for that $100 is $10, 10%, right?
Okay.
You do a 10% tax across the board. So if a billionaire is making $1 billion a year, he should get taxed a full 10% on that $1 billion. He shouldn't have all of these tax breaks and tax credits that you or I don't have.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. And I think a lot of folks believe in that. Sounds like a flat tax. But let me ask you this as well, because this is the second portion of the topic we're talking about. We're talking about Trump's gag orders. Now, it seems like he probably did violate the order issued to him by the judge. If he continues doing this, do you think the judge should take any action?
Yes, he should. Now, frankly, putting him in jail, I don't know if that would booster his election or not. But one thing that does seem to tend to hurt Trump is the pocketbook. And this, is it Letitia James that's prosecuting him right now?
Letitia James, yeah, that's what she already won.
This idea of $1,000 per offense, no. That's Trump will blow his nose at that. Make it hurt. Make it $1 million per offense.
I don't think they can do that. I don't know if a judge can impose $1 million fine.
Well, let's see. Then give Trump his choice. You sit in jail until your trial's over, or you pay $1 million per offense. Let him pick.
Wow. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think if the judge tried to impose $1 million...
Let me give you an example. I was going through a custody battle, and where I was fighting for the custody of my child. In the state of Idaho, there is a code, and I will never forget it, 39-1112, that guarantees every parent the absolute right to enter into any facility that watches their children. My daughter was telling me that her daycare provider, which I had no choice in picking the daycare, that was her mom's choosing, was making her clean up dog feces, using a paddle stick on her. And this is a child that was in kindergarten.
Wow.
And not feeding her properly. So I went there, I knocked on the door because it was a licensed in-home daycare. I knocked on the door requesting entrance. I was denied entrance. And so what I did was I continued to pay my child support, but the daycare fees, I held off on those. Okay, her attorney let it go for like 5 months and then filed 5 counts of contempt of court against me. We go to court. The judge says, "Why haven't you been paying?" I tell the judge, and he goes, Well, you can't do that. What we're going to do is we're going to set up another court date, and when we come here, you better have it paid up, or you're going to go to jail for a minimum of 5 days. So I talked to the person which I referred to as my ghost of an attorney, which he wasn't there representing me. He was there for legal advice is what I was paying him for.
Okay.
He told me that what I needed to do is pay up those fees, and then
I'm about to get you to move it. Okay, get to the bottom of it.
I paid up the fees. He told me to pay everything but the daycare tax credit, which I did. I go to court. The judge says, "Are you paid up?" I said, "Yes." They say, "No." The judge says, "Why?" I tell him why, that there's a discrepancy. And he goes, "Well, then you're not paid up. You're going to jail for 5 days." Even though I followed the advice of an attorney. I didn't do it out of contempt or anything, but I still went to jail
I don't think that. Yeah, but I don't think that explains. You're talking about $1 million fine on Trump for being held in contempt. $1 million. You think that
Let me put it this way: what if one of his MAGAs gets wind of an address of a juror or somebody and goes and unalives that person? What's that person's life worth?
Well said. All right, I can't argue with that, Pat Carlson. Thank you for coming through. Doors always open to you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anytime. $1 million for being held in contempt. How many of you folks think that would be justified? Now, remember, Trump, as my last caller, and many of you already know, if Trump is held in contempt and the punishment is a fine, $1,000 ain't shit to Trump. I think we all agree that Trump could easily come up with $1,000 and say what he want to say all day, every day. But $1 million, do you think that would be fair to fine Trump $1 million for running his mouth? I think that's a bit heavy. I will say that my guess is he would appeal that fine and win. Or get it lowered at least. I think that's a lot. That is a lot. In the comments, Trey says, "Tim, you got some Trump deranged people on here." I believe in free speech, folks. I believe in free speech. You may view some of those folks leaning right as deranged. I can assure you, if you lean left, they probably think the same about you. It's all about free speech here, folks. Long as it doesn't get incredibly bad. Because we don't have a moderator here. Let me make that clear. We do not moderate the comments. I'm always paying attention to what's scrolling. But it is incredibly rare that I feel the need or the urge to censor someone. It is literally, you can speak freely here. That's what it's all about. Program is always will be MAGA friendly. Tap the screen. For you folks on TikTok, we got nearly 900 of you in here. Could easily get the program up to about 20,000 likes to start the program off. YouTube, feel free to smash that like button. I suppose the numbers will change as the program goes on YouTube. We're asking that Biden's economy, is it really that bad? Or is it hype from his detractors? And then, of course, we're talking about Trump's gag order. Appears that he has violated it at least twice. What the hell should the judge do? What type of punishment should he impose on Trump? Pat Carlson, thank you for the money gun. Going back to the box, we'll keep the program moving on with Nick Stick to Talk. If I said that right, Nick TikTok or something like that. I don't know how I pronounced that, but moving it on. My house doubled in price because of Biden. So you should be happy. Yay, Biden. Your house doubled in price. Nick, good afternoon.
Hey, brother, how you doing, man?
I'm doing real good. Biden's economy, how has it affected you?
Well, I think everything like that guy just said there, like his house is doubled. I think everything has gone up. I think everything has gone up as a whole. I think some things have gone up that doesn't make sense that have gone up at certain times. Like when we was paying $8 for a 12-pack of eggs and stuff like that. I think there's some inflation that goes on that these companies do that is not a necessary thing.
But let me ask it to you this way: you're mentioning inflation, you're mentioning prices going up. Do you believe that is the fault of President Biden? Do you believe the economy under Biden sucks because of President Biden?
No, I don't think it's him. I think what's happened is, like I said, I think that this is kind of how this works in my opinion. So I have an auto repair shop, and this is what I can tell you: if one of the auto repair shops in my area decide to raise his prices up 20%, the guy next to him is going to catch wind and say, you know what? Our product is just as good as his. Why are we not charging the same price, if not more? So what happens is everybody starts following suit. And then finally what happens is everybody catches up to it. And then now everybody's on the same playing field.
And that obviously has nothing to do with the White House. That's just greed.
Right. That's greed. And I'm going to tell you what, that's American greed. When you're going to pay $8 for a dozen of eggs, if you don't think that's greed, or when you could wake up and gas has went up 40 cents overnight, if you don't think that there's some greed that goes in and that's involved there, then you just got to be completely disconnected.
So then let me take it this direction. My beloved MAGA often will suggest that Trump could easily get this economy back on course. Do you believe if Trump was reelected in November, he could bring those prices down?
I don't think. I mean, no. At this point, I don't think he would be able to. You know, I know people said that the prices were cheaper when it was under him, but again, it was as a whole. Even now, look, it goes back to the housing market. Your house wasn't worth as much as it is now underneath Donald Trump. See, so where we benefit, our benefits have gone up as far as our recent, like the used car market right now, brother, is absolutely insane. I mean, you're taking these cars that are 15 years old, and people are selling them for brand new car prices. It's something that they've never seen before. Wow. So it's just, I think everything has gone up in a hole. And if he comes back in and he tries to lower some things, I think what's going to happen is I just don't see that happening again, man. Because now the greed is because you've gotten greedy and you've gotten away with it. I don't see it like just a retail store. If you're a mom and pop store and you're selling a candle for $8 now that you used to sell for $4. If he comes in the office, you're going to lower your price back down to that candle to $5?
Not likely without some type of government order forcing me to. Yeah, you're right. I don't see how it would happen. So in other words, Trump following Biden up in November is not going to really change the economy for the good at all, in your opinion.
No, I don't think it's going to have any effect on the economy. So at this point, man, what we need to be more concerned about, in my opinion, is what's going on with the war and stuff, and we need to be concerned about possibly EMPs and things like that. Just things that are with this election coming up, man. Everything's kind of hitting the fan. It's all kind of coming to a head at that time again.
Well, let me present that to you. You mentioned being more concerned with global affairs, and you said the war. Do you think Trump is that your device?
I just shut it off.
Okay, because somebody really wants you. Do you believe President Trump would be a better commander-in-chief if you're concerned about the war and global conflicts? Trump promised he could end the Russian-Ukraine conflict in 24 hours. Do you believe he might be a better choice of president?
I think that he would be better as far as global affairs in that area, yes.
You got a lot of things going on over there, man. I didn't hear what you said. You said you think what again?
I think that he would be better with, as far as, yeah, I do. I think he had a better connection with other leaders in other parts of the world. Okay. Now, obviously we don't know everything that goes on behind the scenes, but I do think that they revered him a little bit more. I think they had a little bit more fear. I think that he would say what he would do, and I don't think they wanted to test that theory.
So do you believe he is correct in stating he could end the war in 24 hours between Russia and the Ukraine?
I don't know if he could do it in 24 hours, but I bet he could do it in 72 hours.
Wow.
I bet he could get it pushed back down, and get things kind of. And I'm going to tell you what, man. If we don't do something, we don't do something fast. You see where it's going. I mean, it's and this is I've been telling people this. They said, in my opinion, we're already at World War III. They just haven't announced it. I mean, there's too many people involved at this point now. There's so many countries that are involved in different areas, doing different things with this war, that I think that it's all been declared, and they haven't declared it because they don't want to scare people.
I can't. See, China is not involved in any of this other than threatening Taiwan. So that's one of the superpowers that's not in it. Most of Western Europe is not in it. They're not. The Ukraine is for the most part, receiving just about all of their military assistance from the U.S. and maybe the UK. And they're taking refugees in places like Poland. I know Belarus is on the side of Russia. There's so many major players that's not in this. I don't know if I would jump to World War III already in existence right now.
Well, what's concerning, man, is I don't know. Have you ever heard of the disparities?
No.
The disparities continents. Basically, it's by the I can't think of the rift that's called in the ocean, but basically it's what separates America. You know, our closest spot to Russia, you know how far it is?
Wait, say that again?
Our closest spot from us to Russia, you know how far it is?
No.
2 miles.
Oh, you mean up near Alaska?
Yeah, you know, there's and it's concerning over there, man, because there's still life. The only thing that's on that Russian island there, on the deities on that side, is military stuff. The only thing that's on the American side, which is 2 miles from there, are civilians. So, you know, they've been kind of keeping an eye on that area too. It's kind of a weird.
Yeah, but what's the point you're trying to make here?
My concern is, man, is I think under Trump, man, I think that he had the relationship that he had with Russia.
I have no clue why that happened. My last guess, I'm assuming it was somebody just simply reporting because he didn't say anything that TikTok would have removed him. This does happen. Brought back. He didn't look. Folks may have not favored what he was saying, but he didn't slam Biden on the economy. Stated that Trump is not going to fix the economy. He favored Trump a little bit more on the global stage, but why the hell would he get removed? He didn't say anything that was really that controversial even. So certainly put in for the appeal. You should be all right. Looking in the comments, somebody said they were trying to shut him up. Well, my guess is somebody watching the program may have done that. By the way, thank you for tapping the screen. Get me on up to 30,000 on the likes. We are nearly at over 900. So certainly tap the screen for my TikTok viewers. My YouTubers, feel free to smash that like button. Blue Devil in the comments ask, have I ever been in the penitentiary? I've never been arrested even once in my entire life. But if I was in the penitentiary, I would have no problem telling you. Perhaps the experience would have me more educated on some of life's lessons. A lot of interesting folks that are incarcerated. They're not all idiots. They're not all criminals, rapists, and murderers. You know what we're talking about from that. But yeah, if I had the experience, I would certainly enlighten you on what I gained while incarcerated. Never happened before. Looking in the comments though, left my ass off. You act like Trump's gonna last 4 months. Trump's gonna last 4 months. How? You're probably talking about being incarcerated. Biden stopped warp speed attack, says Tea Party. I don't know what you're referencing, but thank you folks who are tapping the screen. Get the likes up to 30,000. Like I said, there's over 900 of you in here. I need a little bit more participation. It helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA, but liberals are welcome as well. So tap the screen, smash that like button on YouTube. If you do enjoy civilized dialogue from both sides of the aisle without any concern of the host trying to block, ban, or censor you, you are in the right place. I implore you to follow the program on TikTok, a subscription on YouTube, if you will. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central is when we're here. Going back to the box, Uncle James, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Biden's economy. How is it affecting your family negatively, or you're not seeing a change at all, or maybe you're doing better under Biden? Uncle James, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tim. How you doing,
I'm
sir?
doing good. Good to have you on.
Always a pleasure, sir. Real quick, I did want to make a point because I was on with you pretty much all day yesterday.
That was brutal. I had a large participation, folks. He's talking about. I was on till about 1:30 last night. It was crazy.
No.
Go ahead.
I wanted to quickly say this because you did have one MAGA person I was on that said something that struck me that I've never heard any other MAGA person say ever. And he said this. He said that, yes, he is indeed a Make America Great person, but he said this. He said, I want to make America great for everyone.
Okay.
Not just conservatives, not just liberals, but for everyone. And that caught my attention because it made me realize that I listen to a lot of different programs, but like yours is the only program I think that I've ever heard where MAGA people are welcome to speak. And I appreciate that you respect the First Amendment. I've gone on other programs that are MAGA friendly that are not as
open, yeah.
Right. To other comments. So I think your program is essential because of that fact. And even in what the gentleman country, I can't remember his name, whatever he was saying was like, look, at the end of the day, you and him just have a difference of political opinion.
I think I remember who you were talking about. I think I do remember that conversation. Yeah, I do believe there are some folks who just simply believe Trump has a fundamentally better path for America. I don't think they're all divisive or, we don't give a damn about. They're not all like that. Thank you, DJ Julio, for the hat and mustache. Appreciate it. Yeah, I do believe there are some folks like that, but with folks yelling "fuck your feelings" and all that mixed in the crowd, it's hard to pick them out. But there's some folks like that.
100%. Now, to your first question about the economy.
Wow.
The economy.
Go ahead. Wow.
The economy is better. It's not perfect. It's not anywhere close to where it was before Trump took office. And I think part of the reason is because there have been some missteps. There's been a lot of rampant runaway greed that's caused so much inflation in terms of prices. There's price gouging in every sector that you can imagine. And people are feeling it because we're not seeing wages go up. We have not seen wages match inflation in more than 25 years. And so I'm not laying all of that at Trump's feet, but to say that he's going to improve the economy when he actually, and this is documented, wrecked our oil and refineries by getting OPEC to dump oil into the marketplace. And this is stuff that you can verify.
Yeah, I've heard it before.
That he caused a lot of American refineries to shut down. And so you're not making the economy better if you're causing American manufacturing, especially in oil and gas, to not only lose footing in the global economy, but to make it so that the people who are basically overrunning the industry itself, they are profiting while America is suffering. Mm-hmm. You're not making the economy better.
So you believe, just like my last caller, if Trump is reelected, the economy is not going to get better by any means?
It will get absolutely worse because he will once again make concessions for the 1% at the expense of the American people. And here's the thing that people have to realize on the day. The stuff that we're experiencing now, when we talk about going back to COVID and, in the country shutting down, remember, we had a playbook that could have probably limited the amount of time that the country was shut down in half, right? We would not. We are now just beginning to see the reverberations of all. They're loving you today.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I'm surprised at all the support I'm getting on TikTok. That was certainly Nick with that big ass whale. Wow. And then Gwendolyn and Mike the Sailor. Wow, I don't normally see that. So I must be doing something right. You're making my day because I almost didn't come on today. But thank you. Thank you for your support. Wow, a little to the left. I am really, really surprised. I appreciate the support. Wow, thank you. Okay, continue. Wow.
But again, it's never about, and this is what I think both MAGA and liberals need to understand this. Like, whenever you talk about so-and-so has wrecked the economy, so-and-so has done this, it is always a reverberation or effect of the person that's come before. Now, Biden has had a lot to clean up from the Trump years. And whether you love him or not, he's actually doing a decent job. He's not doing the best job because Congress is making some roadblocks. They've thrown some roadblocks in place that have prevented him from really stimulating the economy the way that we need to. I mean, drug prices are number one. And if you look at that alone as a way of just like dissecting how this is all going, if you remove the roadblocks, then the people who need the money the most, the average working Americans, number one, we have to demand that there's a minimum wage increase. And I don't buy into the BS about, well, kids who are working at McDonald's shouldn't be making this.
But let me interrupt and say two things. First of all, on YouTube, Garner Williams is saying, check your gas prices. This is a ridiculous statement. He completely disagrees with you. But in regards to your comment about minimum wage, I'm a huge supporter of raising up the damn minimum wage. I don't think there's any excuse for why it's remained the same for damn near a generation. But I will say this, there are folks, particularly on the West Coast, like in California, that are complaining that the price of a burger or a combo meal due to their new minimum wage is skyrocketed, like really, really expensive. So there could be some repercussions, but I am with you. That is not an excuse to leave the minimum wage the same for a whole generation.
So as someone who actually lives in California, let me call out the BS on these people, because unless they have been like making their own food, growing their own chickens, and getting their own eggs from those chickens, they have not been living under the rock for the last year. Prices have been going up for quite some time since before then.
True.
I can tell you, when the pandemic hit, my wife and I relied heavily on like Grubhub and Instacart and things like that. And so I've been able to track, even in my favorite restaurants that I wanted to still survive and still be here after the pandemic was over, watching their prices not only increase, but in some areas double.
Wow.
And this was long before the minimum wage was enacted. So I'm not buying that BS about the hamburgers and everything, because the wings is already costing you $20 for 10 wings. So come on, man. I'm
with you on that. I mean, and not only that, but with the minimum wage staying at the same rate for almost 20 years, if raising the minimum wage means that food's going to cost more, keeping it the same for 20 years, food should not have been going up, and we know it was the whole time. I got to move it on to Uncle James. Appreciate you coming through.
Not a problem, Tim. And one last thing I wanted to say before we got off today, please keep doing what you're doing, sir. When I initially saw you, man, and I saw the hat, I had a much different opinion, but I did this. I did this, sir. I took the opportunity to shut my mouth and open my mind.
I like that. I like that. And hopefully some of the viewers think the same, because while you've been talking, I've already been called an Uncle Tom and an Uncle Ruckus. But thank you for coming on, Uncle James. Thank you.
There we go. All right, my man.
All right, appreciate it. And that happens, by the way. He's probably the fourth or fifth person I've had personally tell me that I thought you was a damn sellout when I saw, whoa, Nick, you making this worthwhile today. Nick, all these graphics, goddamn, thank you. Let me get back, throw me off the topic with that, but what I will say is that he's probably the fourth or fifth person to tell me that they scrolled through, saw someone looking like me with a MAGA hat in the background, and just judged what they saw without listening, without reading anything, just judged the picture they saw. He's about the fourth or fifth person to tell me, I realize you're not what I originally thought. And I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. If we can open up some ears, hearts, minds, conversation, that's the whole purpose of having an uncensored program. Because I learned a hell of a lot from speaking to MAGA. Hopefully some MAGA feel the same way. Conversing with me and you folks is not my program. It's not yours. It's ours. That's the way I've always viewed it. And it's an honor having all you folks here with me Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Got to get the plug in, tap the screen, get the likes on up to around 60,000. We are certainly climbing up with your participation. Bird Mac says, Tim, you are the truth. That didn't work for me in divorce court, but I appreciate the accolade. Going back to the box, we will bring on up Sight Beyond Sight. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. We're talking about Biden's economy. Sight Beyond Sight. How is your sight on Biden's economy?
First of all, how you doing, Tim?
Doing well.
So the economy, I view it a little different, right?
Sure.
I view the economy in a way. If I was a business owner, right? We had 2 years or 2.5 years of extremely low business and revenue for a lot of agencies. So they're making their money back. Also, how I look at it is, if you really look at what Trump did, or what the rhetoric he's spewing out to the wealthy, he's encouraging them by saying he's going to continue to cut taxes even further for them. So what incentive do they have to lower any of these prices in the supermarket when they're making millions? And if they continue on this trend, the possibility of a favorable president for them that they can increase their wealth will be in office. So
what about the trickle down theory that if Trump gives wealthy business owners a tax break, they will pocket that money and not try to gouge us at the cash register and lower prices? Is it possible that what he's doing might actually work for the working man?
Well, that has never worked in the history of never, right? So that's not going to happen. We don't live in a society where the wealthy is generous, right? They donate because they have to get tax break. They don't donate because they want to. And I'm not saying all, but the majority, right? The bottom line is for our system of capitalism to work, you have to have a group of consumers, right? Group of consumers that are put in a situation where they're forced to buy shitty products at a higher price.
So let me counter that with what Jax is saying. Jax in the comments, hearing your statement, Jax is saying, and that's one of my favorite characters from Mortal Kombat, but Jax says minimum wage is what's causing inflation. Now, we talked about that with the last caller. You think the rise of minimum wage, and it's not rising in every state, it's mostly liberal areas, but it increasing the minimum wage. Do you believe that's what's leading to all of this?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. I don't believe that. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're going in and out.
Yeah. My wife called.
Okay.
But, I don't believe that's the issue, because minimum wage hasn't moved in years, yet we still had inflation. Yeah. So that doesn't even make any sense. Inflation is just based off of what people are willing to pay for a product. Yeah. And if we want inflation to truly stop, we need to stop buying unnecessarily, right? We're still looking at people traveling and records are being set for traveling and shopping online. And, I told the Amazon driver, don't come to my house again or we're going to fight.
You might need to talk to your wife about that. You might need to talk to your wife about that.
Absolutely. But I mean, we're still consuming.
Yeah.
We're consuming at record levels. I mean, for frivolous things, right? I don't see stores bare. I don't see stores empty as far as consumers. And I'm not just talking about for necessities. I'm talking about for recreational. You look at concerts. Concerts are still selling out, and the cheapest seat you're going to get is $200. Same for sporting events. So if we want inflation to come down, we have to stop spending so much.
Well said. Yeah, I followed Caitlin Clark. The moment she went to the WNBA, the whole damn season sold out. That ain't a necessity. Absolutely. Yeah, that's not a necessity. Absolutely. So I agree with you that spending on luxury items has not went down. Best Buy is not complaining that they're having a hard time moving big screen TVs. People are still buying, so it does. Now, but what about the notion that people are not spending income they have, but they're going deeper and deeper in debt under Biden?
But then that's a discipline issue, right? We're still spending. If you don't have it, don't spend it. I mean, there's a lot of things that I would like to have, but I understand I got 2 kids going to go to college. So you know, that car that I have, I'm gonna have to hold on for a couple years longer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just simple adjustments like that. You know, I don't have to go to McDonald's and get the value meal. You know,
that's a really good point. You can't blame Biden for irresponsible spending. As you said, if you're going deeper and deeper into debt under President Biden, buying luxury items, that's not his fault. I agree with that. That makes so. At the end of the day, though, you unlike say MAGA or folks on the right, you don't believe if Trump becomes president in November, the economy will get any better.
Absolutely not. Why? I mean, they're about Trump is another one who's about making money. You know, I mean, he put out his golf course that it's one spot at his golf course is a war monument, and no war ever happened there. So I mean, you know, he doesn't care. He's all about the money, just like the rest of the billionaires, and we're left holding the pot. But if we really wanted to get inflation under control, if we limit our spending, you know, just simple. And I'm not telling people to make life changes, but limit your spending on things that you're going above your necessities. Just do that for 1 month. If we was all collectively to do that for 1 month, no luxury items, you know, no nail shops, no hair, any of those things, we'll start to see inflation come down, because these companies are going to say, hey, wait a minute, they're not buying this.
Now, isn't that kind of what they're doing? I do got to move it on, but isn't that what they're kind of doing with Kellogg or something like that, with the cereal? They were gouging.
With the boycott. Yeah, they're boycotting. But, I mean, the thing with those companies like Kellogg and things like this, they have subsidiary companies with cheaper products, but it's the same thing, and they'll just boost that. So you're going to exchange one for another. So what we got to do as consumers is really research and understand who owns what and what products are we not going to do with or without. I mean, if we really start looking at that scope, I think we can put a dent in their pockets, and inflation will start to drop, because we're not doing things.
One thing fair enough. I do appreciate you coming on. I do got to move it on. One thing I do favor on Trump, though, I think Trump would be better at naming those companies that are, if that was something he was concerned with, he gets the message out to the people, I think, better. I think Biden remaining silent is probably one of his biggest detriments. He don't talk to the people enough. So,
well, I think Trump, what he'll do is the companies that don't support him, he'll call them out.
Yeah.
But the companies that show him support, you won't hear a peep. So he's for sale.
I agree with that.
Time, so.
Yeah. All right. Sight beyond sight. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate it.
All right, my brother.
Anytime. And in the comments, for my YouTube audience, I wanted to respond to one comment. Sandra, appreciate you in the comments with your participation, asked the question, why the hell would you, as she stated, grift off of the MAGA hat pictured here behind me over my right shoulder? I've said this numerous times, but I will state it for Sandra and the likes of those who have never heard me state this before. The program is titled The Handsome Liberal. Damn my looks. If you think I'm ugly, feel free to state it in the comments. I don't give a damn, and you have a right to speak. But the purpose of the MAGA hat is to let folks know that I personally believe that conservatives, Republicans, and particularly MAGA, do not get a fair shake in the media. The minute they start speaking, out come the censors, bans, and being blocked. Even though I lean left on a lot of social issues, the purpose of the hat is to let everyone know this is a MAGA-friendly program. I say it over and over again on every damn show. Program is, always will be MAGA-friendly, because I do believe that MAGA does not often get a fair shake and they're not often allowed to speak. So that's the purpose of the hat, to let you know when you're here, no one's going to censor your speech. You don't have to agree with anybody in the comments. You don't have to agree with yours truly, but you will be allowed to speak. May challenge you on some of your opinions, but you will be allowed to speak without the concern of being blocked, banned, or censored. We don't do that here. So looking in the comments, that is pretty stand up of you. Thank you. That says West Virginia Lala. Thank you. Thank you for being open-minded and allowing an open forum Lisa, appreciate that. Not a problem. Y'all brainwashed if you think Biden is going to save you. Jonathan Stewart. I don't believe I've ever heard a liberal suggest that Biden is going to play Captain Save-A-Ho for my E40 fans. I don't think any liberal suggested Biden will, quote unquote, save you. That's a phrase you hear from MAGA. They're going to make the country great. They're going to take the country back. The liberals don't talk like that. The liberals don't use phrases like that, but I do appreciate your input. Going back to the box, nothing can save you. This is the season for catching the vapors. Jax, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Favorite character on Mortal Kombat. Let's see if Jax comes through. You on Team Clarence Thomas. That's what I'm talking about, folks. Just use their eyes, not their ears. Don't read. Somebody suggested that I'm on Team Clarence Thomas. A new viewer. Appreciate them being here, but I know they're not a new listener yet. Trump, by the way, the box is taking the time out. Let me see what'll happen on the box. Otherwise, I'll bring up a new caller. Trump exploited the presidency for his personal profit. Yes, but to some degree, they all do. The Obamas left the White House considerably wealthier than they did going in. I'm assuming George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush did too. They all profit substantially. There's no way to have that job, to have that amount of power, to have that amount of control without making money. You damn near would have to give it away. People are throwing money at you from every direction. If you've ever seen Eddie Murphy, The Distinguished Gentleman, where he literally ran for Congress as a con artist and realized, damn, I'm making a whole lot of money doing this, that even as a con artist, I didn't think I would make this kind of money, and it is all legal. That is how it is in politics. I mean, they're throwing money at you. If you walk out of the White House, you leave the Senate, or hell, even if you leave Congress and you don't have a lot of money, you did something wrong, because money is being thrown at you. People want you to pass bills, write laws, favor legislation that benefits them and helps them make millions. They'll kick back 1 or 2% to you, and you got people from all angles coming at you with that. How do you not make money in that game? Looking in the comments, you need to watch Django. There you go. Suggesting that I am today's, you need to watch Django. You are today's Define. You and the grammar is awful. This person needs to watch an English video, but I get the point. You see the hat, you're making all these statements. Oddly enough, most of the folks who make these statements are people that look like me. It is incredible, the notion of even thinking someone that looks like me supports Trump and they go racist and then they want to call Trump racist. The comments you're making are incredibly degrading. I don't block, ban, or censor, so you can make them without any concern of me blocking or banning you on the program. But I don't think you probably have the right to call anybody racist or intolerant with your comments. You, sir, are doing the exact same thing. Going back to the box, Trump not racist, his followers are. Wow. Stephen Lopez. So you're suggesting that Trump is not racist, but his followers are. Does Trump know his followers are racist? Is Trump instrumental in his followers being racist? Just asking a question. I've seen your comment. Going back to the box, Bamboo Brews, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. If the box brings you up. Bamboo, talking about...
Hey, brother.
Hey, good afternoon. We're talking about Biden's economy. How is it faring on you and your family? Do you think it's awful? You think it's the same? You think it's even better than Trump?
No, it's much better than Trump's. But I want to say, have you seen the interview with the president of the labor unions? He was a staunch supporter of Trump in the very beginning, and now he has come out and said that Trump lied to him about all that he was going to do for the labor workers and getting, the infrastructure bills passed. And so he there's an interview of him now. You can go online and see it.
I really do want to see that.
It's a very good, and he they have a campaign and everything stating that since Biden has become president, their people in the union workers are saying that there's food on their table. There's jobs to be had. There's work to be done, and that they are benefiting from Biden's policies, unlike what Trump said he would do. So as to the question, is the economy better? That's a very subjective question. For some people it might be better. For some people it might not be as good.
Right.
But the thing is this: we are not starving in this country. As a collective, we're not starving, and people are prospering. Businesses are starting up. President Biden is he's doing the best he can with the people he have in place. The Congress, the Senate. These people are sold out to the lies that Donald Trump has.
But what about the suggestion? Okay, you said sold out to the line, so I kind of know where you're going with this. But what about the suggestion that people believe, and people really do believe this, that if Trump was reelected, gas prices would go down, prices of goods and services would go down. They believe Trump is the key to a better economy. Why do you think they have such a different viewpoint than you?
I watched something recently, and I apologize, I can't tell you where I watched it, but it was some economists said that, in all truth and reality, the president has nothing to do with the price of gas and oil. He has nothing to do with that. That's driven by the market, and whenever the weather changes, they got to change over to this blend of oil, these type of machineries, and they use that as excuses. What I'll say is that the gas and oil market is not regulated enough for them, to be held accountable. There's no reason in the world that a war 50,000 miles away from an area that has nothing to do with gas and oil could dictate the prices of oil. They use every little...
Well, wait a minute. If there's a war in the Middle East and people are either hoarding reserves, bombing oil fields, or playing games with the prices or the amount they drill, you don't think that would affect prices here at all? You have to understand how much oil we consume from those places. Right. We get oil from Africa. We get oil right here in the United States, from Alaska. We get oil from a lot of different places, and it's all driven, by the market. The market dictates, oil prices will be this, oil prices will be that. The speculators, this is all a money grab. Let me present it to you like this. Cody G on YouTube says, we went from selling oil to other countries and having a surplus to buying from foreign countries. We stopped production here. I've never heard that before, but what say you?
Yeah, I don't believe we ever. I've heard that also, but I don't believe that we ever stop production. Yeah. What we do is we stop selling, and that's how you get reserves. You hold on. You stack your pennies, you stack your coins until you get to the place where you can say, okay, we can start selling again. And again, it all. I'm no economist, but they, there are people whose pay grade is much higher than mine, who understand the way markets work, and they capitalize off of that, and that's the issue. That's one of the many issues that I have with Donald Trump. He's an opportunist. Wherever he sees an opportunity that he can benefit financially, he caters to that, that demographic, and that's being the president of the United States, the president of the free world. There's no place for someone with that type of attitude. Yes,
well, but you say he's an opportunist. Folks are suggesting that is what a businessman is, and they believe we need a businessman to run this country. I mean, folks believe that a businessman is a better choice than what we currently have.
But at the end of the day, when you look at a businessman, right? How much does the businessman really care about his bottom level employees?
Zero.
Replace them.
Most of them, not much at all.
Exactly. So do we need a businessman or do we need a true leader who understands diplomacy, who understands global issues, and not from a financial aspect? Yes, that's important, but we got to understand social issues. We got to have a president that understands all the dynamics that come with that seat. That office is a powerful office.
But let's go with your statement about understanding global issues. You brought that up. Folks believe that if you had Trump back in office, globally this planet would be a calmer, less conflicting place. People believe he's better with global issues than Biden.
No, not at all. Do you think for a split second that Xi Jinping is afraid of Donald Trump? I think not. Do you think Vladimir Putin is afraid of Donald Trump? I think not.
I don't think Putin is afraid of Trump, but I think he's a friend of Trump. I do believe Trump could make a phone call to Putin, and I'm not saying he's going to boss Putin around or Putin is scared of him like you're pointing out, but I do believe he would be able to make deals with Putin and get things, maybe more favorable, or better yet, to calm down. Because he does have a relationship with Putin that none of the other world leaders we've had so far has had. I believe he has a stronger relationship with him.
But when you think about it, all of the presidents that have come through the White House, all have had diplomacy with all the leaders of the world. During wartime, we sat down with the leader of Vietnam during the Vietnam conflict. There are avenues for diplomacy with all the presidents. We don't get in bed with them though, like Donald Trump has. We don't defend them. We don't go against our people and say, no, I don't believe that they were involved when all the evidence clearly suggests that they was tampering with our elections. We don't get in bed with them. We don't side with other, countries that are not our allies. We stand against them, even if we may not believe it. Our presidents say, you know what, so that the American people don't lose faith in me, I stand with the American people.
Well said.
And Trump has not done that. And look, before I get up, I know you got to go. I wanted to run one thing past you. I tried to get on yesterday.
Sure, what you got?
Listen, the one thing that no one's talking about is that there's evidence that the committee that put together the January 6th rally, they didn't have permits to go to the U.S. Capitol.
Yeah, they said they actually, I think there's a recording that they were told, don't go to the Capitol building, because obviously a lot of sensitive targets was at the Capitol building, and they told them, we're not going to the Capitol building. And here goes Trump, we're going to march to the Capitol, and I'll be, so you are correct. I did hear that.
He knew he had knowledge prior to this. So when you say, can you hold him culpable for it? Yes, because he knew there was no way. He had a perfectly good venue to say all the things he wanted to say at the elliptical, whatever you call it.
Right.
That was his place. He had his people there. Whether he vetted those people, because what I understand, he said, take down the metal detectors and let my people in, because they're not going to hurt me. So he knew that his people had weapons or whatever they may have had, and he could have kept them right there. He could have said what he had to say. His point would have been just as valid there as it would have been had he had a permit to go to the Capitol.
Well said, Bamboo, and I have heard that as well. Appreciate you coming through. Thank you very much. Anytime. Looking in the comment section, someone said something. Democrats love poverty, says Southern Green. Well, why are the most poor, impoverished states in Republican areas? Most of the money is in liberal cities. You can talk about the crime in Chicago, in New York, in Los Angeles, and Philadelphia. A lot of crime there, but there's also a lot of money there. So the idea that Democrats love poverty doesn't resonate with Democratic cities. You hear right-wing media constantly tell you about immigration issues in liberal cities, being soft on crime in liberal cities, the amount of outrageous crime in liberal cities like Chicago. You'll hear that all the time on right-wing media. They don't talk about poverty in liberal areas. They don't even, because there is too much money in areas like Chicago. I'm from the south side of Chicago. I can tell you this. the black folks, minorities in places like the south side of Chicago where all the crime is, they're living better financially than a typical person in rural Mississippi or Alabama. They got more money. So the poverty part doesn't measure up. That just doesn't measure up. The union jobs that pay more, yeah! Thank you for the hat and mustache. Pinche Vato Loco, friend of the program. But yeah, you go talk to minorities, Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago, Los Angeles, folks with post office, union jobs, work for the Park District. They're doing fine financially. It's the folks in these Bible Belt states down south, with maybe the exception of Houston and Atlanta. Most of them are the ones that is where the poverty's at. So no, you got that one wrong. Looking in the comments real quick, the Freeman, in your defense, California is the 5th largest economy in the world. There you go. Exactly. All the money, if you took California, and as some folks say, California shouldn't be a part of America, you would notice that hit financially right off the bat. Because you talk about taxes in liberal cities. Remember, you go in a lot of Republican areas, no income tax, they help give you tax shelters. So all of the taxes that is being collected in these liberal cities, a lot of folks in the South are benefiting from that. The downtrodden in the South that need federal FEMA funds when they have all them damn hurricanes. Where do you think that money's coming from? It's coming from liberal cities that you're bashing. It's literally coming from there. Looking in the comments. All y'all care about is race and not the country. Just because Biden is just because Biden is with Obama, y'all love him. Becca X Escobar. I don't think that's true. I would give you about 20% agreement on that. There's a hell of a lot of minorities that only care about race. I don't disagree with that. But there's folks on the right that feel the same way. They just don't admit that race is an issue. But the idea that people like Biden because he was with Obama is flat out untrue. There's not a lot of love for Biden. It's anti-Trump that is what is riding. Biden is riding the wave of anti-Trump sentiment. You could get rid of Biden, Kamala Harris, Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer. They would all get the same votes because a significant amount of support is coming from the we don't like Trump crowd. That's a huge amount. It's not any love for Biden because he was with Trump. Obama, rather, because Biden was. Most African Americans would rather get rid of Biden. There's no love for Biden because he was rolling with Obama. It's the hatred of Trump is where the support is coming from. You need to rethink that one. Looking in the comments, let's talk about where the money doesn't go. Jax, state your case. I know it doesn't go to folks who want college tuition forgiveness, universal health care, homeless. It ain't going to them people. I don't know where it's going. Perhaps you can let me know in the comments. Draco's, quadruple 7. Good afternoon, Draco's. The economy under Biden, how much does it suck, Draco's?
Sucks just like it any other time. It sucks. I mean, people are so invested in what the economy is doing. The president is not what's going to make the economy good or bad. It's all the people who basically own these companies that are driving prices up.
Let me interrupt you, because I know my YouTube side. Where the hell's my MAGA? Everybody, you're like the 4th or 5th person to suggest that Biden's economy is not what folks are. So you also don't believe that if Trump is reelected, he would fix the economy.
No. Trump could. The only way Trump could fix the economy is if he removes all the taxes, all those taxes that cause prices to go up. Then, if the gas tax gets removed, then gas prices go down.
I gotta say this, based on the conversation I'm having with you folks, because Trump, that's his number one, the number one thing he's running on. is that if he's going to make the economy better than what we're dealing with now, it sounds like there's a hell of a lot of voters that don't even think he can do that.
No, because, well, here's the thing, Tim, is that Trump is the president. Trump doesn't own all the companies that are driving these prices up. Mm-hmm. And it's the investors or the shareholders that are getting the money that we're all paying into. So anytime prices go up, just look at the what the end game is as far as the companies. If they've made a major profit, you can see that in Wall Street. You can see it, all the money that's being generated. They don't make these great earnings because the fact that prices were so good for all the people that are buying all this stuff. They drive the prices up. And like the gentleman said earlier, here's the thing: is that if you were to take into consideration like eggs were going up. I remember getting a 60-pack of eggs for $5. That was under Obama, $5. Under Trump, it went to $9. During COVID, it jumped up to $18, $21.
Where is it now?
That's because it's back down at 60. It's down to $10 now.
Okay.
So it came back down. So prices generally come back down, but that's because now there's bigger corporations that have pushed all these mom and pop shops out that were producing all these eggs, and now they've got a monopoly. And that's what people don't understand, is that a lot of big businesses took advantage of what COVID did. A lot of mom and pop shops went under because they couldn't compete. They didn't have any business. They couldn't pay their employees. So big businesses has it. So now they got the winning hand. But I didn't get on to. I didn't want to talk today about that. I want to talk about the guy that was on last night. And the other day I talked to you about somebody who basically was talking real big and basically really wasn't saying anything. The gentleman last night, he says, I got 5 businesses and stuff like that. I got millions coming in.
I remember African-American gentleman.
Yeah, and then he was trying to give you an education as far as the history of the Democrats and stuff like that. That guy is so full of crap that he doesn't even need to take a crap anymore. Don't take X-Lax anymore. All you can do is open his mouth. Because for the most part, he thinks he's educated, but he's not educated. I mean, my daughter went to school and knows more than that guy did.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to go too deep into it because this audience don't know who you're talking about. But yeah, we get it. We get folks that people disagree with. Like I said, I like to let the folks speak. I didn't agree with anything he was saying, but I don't block or ban or censor anybody. So he had some wild opinions in my opinion.
And then when he said that, and I don't know if Trump is racist or not, but there's that whole thing about the 5 guys who basically got that he put out that
Central Park 5.
Okay, and so then he compared Biden to the crime bill, but basically is not taking into consideration all the stuff that was going on that caused that bill to get
the crack epidemic. You're talking about the drug epidemic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was leaving out a whole bunch of stuff, but you asked him a question that he basically went around. You said, what's an insurrection? An insurrection is when you go over and try to take over the goddamn Capitol. They were on sacred ground. It's like going to a church. And you're not supposed to do any killing and stuff on a church. So they call it sacred ground. Vampires can't go on the sacred ground into church, right? But they let all those
well, let me ask you this before I'm moving on. Do you blame Trump for what happened on January 6th?
Okay, I'll say it this way. If you go to a bar and you drink, and in the courts you keep feeding the person who's been drinking more and more drinks and they get out and cause an accident, are you at fault?
I believe legally nowadays you are, yeah.
Yes, and the reason why I say that is because I had a friend who got hit by a drunk driver, left the hotel, got hit by a drunk driver, and the hotel was sued because the fact is that the bartender did not push that person out. They didn't monitor how much that person was drinking and then allowed them to get in their car and just drive. Of course, once they leave the bar, it's not their responsibility to take the keys from the guy, but in essence, one more drink, and then that guy, when you watch him walk away from the bar sloshing and stuff, not able to stand straight, then you own part of that. If you have a party at your house and someone over drinks, that's your party. So
yeah,
Trump
they have passed laws like that.
Yeah, Trump basically called those people down, told them to march. He told them to march on the Capitol, and then also go and get Mike Pence. That's a statement to go and do something drastic to Mike
Wait.
Pence.
You say I didn't hear that. You're saying Trump told the folks at the Capitol to quote unquote go and get Mike Pence?
Mike Pence was basically. I heard that basically there was somebody who took a noose to go and hang Mike Pence because the fact is because he didn't.
Yeah, but you're telling me Trump used the phrase "go and get Mike Pence."
I'm not gonna say that because
okay.
I just heard that.
All right,
okay,
I don't think that happened. I mean, has anybody else heard that? Go and get Mike Pence.
But here's the thing: is that once they breached the Capitol, once the guys were standing outside the Capitol, just the Capitol Police should have been enough to say to the crowd, hey, don't come in, and the crowd should have respected it. If it was a peaceful event, then they wouldn't be smashing and breaking stuff, pulling the railings that were in that one area that basically was that they were doing construction on. They tore those railings down to try to move.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into it, but I don't disagree that some folks entered the building criminally. But the whole purpose of the conversation is, was Trump responsible for what they were doing? But Dracos, I do gotta move it on as always. Thank you for coming up. Appreciate you tuning in last night as well, man. Thank you.
You know what? I will tell you. I'm gonna say this real fast. I requested to get on. And I'm sorry, you were going. I fell asleep, so I don't know if my name got called. But hey, I appreciate you letting me up.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anytime. So looking in the comments, President Trump said to go patriotic and peacefully make their voices heard. He never said to attack the Capitol or do anything to Vice President Pence. Yeah, I didn't hear him saying to do anything to President Pence either. Brian Gooch on YouTube, but. In addition to saying go peacefully and patriotically, there were folks that spoke before Trump that were ignoring their statements, such as Rudolph Giuliani, let's have trial by combat, and what is the other guy? Steve Bannon, what did he say? Take our country back or something like that. Fight like hell, I believe the comment was. So you got to look at the entirety of their speech. It's not okay because when Trump spoke, Rudolph Giuliani and Steve Bannon are the opening acts. Trump is obviously the headliner, but those are the opening acts. I think Flynn or whatever spoke that. You don't get to discount all their statements. They are riling up the crowd. By the time Trump gets up there, that crowd's in a certain mood already because of the opening acts. And those opening acts didn't say anything about peacefully and patriotically. So I'm just simply saying, you can't discount some and pick out certain statements that you want to be remembered and ignore the other ones. I just want to point it out like that. Look at in the comments. Somebody said they had blood in their eyes. Damn. Trump fired all the diplomats. How many times have Democrats peacefully protested? A lot. We can talk about cities being burned, as folks like to say, but make no mistake about it, every town in America that has a population of 50,000 or more has had at least one Black Lives Matter event. Even places like Boise, Idaho and shit like that. Every town in America that has a population of over 50,000 people has had at least one Black Lives Matter event. I don't care if it was 5 people meeting together to talk about it. The overwhelming majority of Black Lives Matter gatherings are peaceful. By far. I'm talking like 96% or something like that, I believe it was. Overwhelming majority of those gatherings are peaceful. But it would be boring. It would really be boring to televise a peaceful gathering of people. You just won't see that. I mean, that's not going to come on. I mean, I've been to 2 or 3 of them myself. They're boring. You're not gonna. They don't make for good television. Certainly, if you don't believe what they're protesting is even legitimate, most of the folks pointing out Black Lives Matter from a negative aspect don't believe the police are mistreating people to begin with. They don't even believe the things that Black Lives Matter is protesting for. So they're not going to watch a peaceful protest because they don't think the cause is legitimate. They're only looking for the fires in the riots because you can now say this cause or this entity sucks. But the peaceful stuff, they don't want to see that. Looking in the comments, Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with the democracy of the USA. Shaking my head. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I'll tell you why before I go back to the box and get back on the damn topic. And by the way, tap the screen. Over 900 of you remaining on TikTok. You can certainly be anywhere you want to be this fine Wednesday afternoon. So it's a pleasure having you here with me. Go ahead and top it off at 100,000. We are certainly close enough that if you tap the screen on TikTok, we can certainly get there. Same on YouTube. If you smash that like button, we can cross the 40 mark. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. Feel free to follow the program. Subscribe on YouTube. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. is when we are here. In regards to the statement, Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with the democracy of this country. Getting justice is part of it. Getting justice is part of the system. Not getting justice, that's not very democratic, where you can literally off somebody and get away with it. And I would submit to you, without the likes of Black Lives Matter, there are a host of people that would have gotten away with their crimes. I've pointed them out before. Ahmaud Arbery, the guy who was allegedly looking into an empty home that was under construction and took off jogging, and these folks followed him and ended up murdering him. Now they're in prison. Before Black Lives Matter came down there was going to be no justice. They're going to let those folks go. Even if you believe Trayvon Martin is 100% a justifiable shoot by George Zimmerman, you'd have never known. Before Black Lives Matter went down to Sanford, Florida, they had already gave George Zimmerman his gun back and sent him home. They wrapped that shit up in about an hour and a half. They didn't even look into what really happened. They just, hey, he's dead. You said it was self-defense. We believe you. Here's your gun. Go home. And there's a host of cases like that. Host of cases. After George Floyd perished on television in front of everybody's eyes, 4 days went by, showing that same video over and over again. If Black Lives Matter had not went there, Derek Chauvin would still be serving on the Minneapolis police force. Black Lives Matter has gotten involved and brought justice to a hell of a lot of people, whether you like them or not. Same thing with the city of Ferguson, Missouri. Even though the protest purpose was ruled a justifiable shoot, that whole department was investigated due to Black Lives Matter and Eric Holder of the Obama administration. Turns out there was a host of racism in that town. And there's cases like that all over the place, where an older gentleman down in Florida, you had a guy pull into a parking lot at a gas station with his girlfriend in the car, and he parked in a handicapped parking space. The guy gets out of the car and goes in the gas station. This older white guy, who's not even driving, decides to go off and argue with the girl that's in the car about where they parked. Boyfriend comes out, sees them in an argument, shoves the old man to the ground. The man pulls out a gun and shoots the black guy dead. He was going to get off with that. There was no need to murder the guy. He was going to get off with that. So there's a lot of those cases. And now he's in prison, probably spending the rest of his life. But it was because Black Lives Matter went to these events and led to an investigation where they were forced, with all of the televised coverage, where we can't just sweep this one under the rug. So Black Lives Matter is part of democracy, in my humble opinion. Because without it, these folks would just be irrelevant. They wouldn't matter. They would be irrelevant. They would have swept it under the rug and ruled them all as justifiable homicides. Look at in the comments. Trump got rid of affirmative action. Was that what? Well, his Supreme Court did, if I'm correct. So I suppose by proxy, you could blame that on Trump. Black Lives Matter is an LGBTQ movement exposed, then removed its LGBTQ mission statement. I get your point. I'll go back to the box. I can't totally disagree. Once Black Lives Matter started gaining some inroads, a lot of other groups piled on. Suddenly the feminist movement was trying to cash in, the LGBTQ movement, as you're pointing. So I don't totally disagree with you. Going back to the box, talking about Biden's economy. Oddly enough, I haven't had one caller speak negatively of it. I'm surprised because Trump's sole purpose of running, or his main purpose of running, is he can fix the economy. I'm really surprised. Not a lot of folks. The HR Gator, good afternoon. Not a lot of folks believe the economy is that bad under Biden. Gator,
hello.
Good afternoon.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm doing good. Biden's economy, what say you?
Well, statistically, when you go look at the actual numbers, it's doing great. It is. It's doing fantastic.
Okay.
Are we still struggling with supply chain costs and things like this as a result of the last 4 to 6 to 8 years? Absolutely. Does that suck? Yeah, sure does. But, we in our individual homes, living and existing, we're not economists.
Yeah.
We're individuals.
So in the comments, while we're chatting here, Charlene says we will never survive 4 more years of Biden. How do you respond to that?
I can't. I am terrified to see what 4 years of Trump looks like, especially as a comeback and the things and the promises and the things that he is talking about. I voted for Trump the first time. I did not make that mistake the second time.
Wow.
I will never, ever make that choice again.
What about Trump's 4 years in office swayed you from voting for him? Folks favored his economy, thought he was, we didn't have many wars under Trump. What made you decide he wasn't worth re-electing?
So I have a son in the military, so I understand that we're in a quote peacetime. I would encourage and implore anybody in the United States right now to tell me who's not in a war with a family member or a long lost friend or a parent that you no longer speak to because you're in a war over the state of the United States of America. How many people no longer have the friends and family they've had because they are in a war with them over behavior, rhetoric, policies? Being in the role that I'm in for however long, I would look at an employee and say, if you worked for an employer and that employer went bankrupt and you lost your job, are you following that employer? No. Are you going to work for them again? No, you just lost your job. They didn't know how to manage their money. So you go to another company and you actually would tell your family and friends, no, I'm not working for them again. I worked for them. They went bankrupt. They didn't know how to manage their money. And now I'm out of, you've affected my livelihood. I don't know how I'm going to buy food or pay bills. So no, I can't imagine putting someone in. They say the economy's so good. He bankrupts businesses left and right. He made promises. He had all policies that have expired and deals that have expired since he's out. And he's like, look, see? And it's like, no, this is all intentional. It's a game. It's just a game. And it's full of false promises.
With such a bad review of him, let me ask you this. If you could go back to 2016, Trump versus Hillary, would you do it all over again?
No, hell no. I would vote for Hillary all damn day long. You know why? Because everyone wants to say when Clinton was in, she must have been running the show, right?
Yeah.
Everybody says this. So here I sit back and think 4 years later after voting for him, I'm thinking, well, shit, she already did it once. Maybe I was misled. Because you know what? There were complaints under Clinton, absolutely, as there is every president. Whoever is not their choice, they have a problem. That's how we work, back and forth. We go back and forth. 4 or 8 years a Republican, we switch to Democrat. 4 or 8 years a Democrat, we switch back. Everybody, it's just a flip-flop game and has been since the beginning of time for us.
So what about the other issue that the folks on the right are using to plague Biden with the border? Heather Morales on YouTube ask her how she feels about Americans losing their jobs for migrants. Do you think the border issue is going to maybe lead to some Democrats voting for Trump because they believe Biden is flooding the country with migrants or holding Biden accountable for it.
Yeah, I actually think it's super funny. I hope that more people who actually live in these areas. I'm currently in South Texas, and so when I watch a lot of the media, I'm like, what are you guys talking about? What are you talking about? Like it is constantly showed as this wave, and there's people like they act like there's like a tsunami hitting like the south border every day, and 300,000 people are like being dropped in Eagle Pass. And like we're just saying hi and closing our eyes and pretending they're not here. Like they've bastardized this entire thing into something so much bigger. And I always ask the question, I'm like, if immigrants are the problem, which we are all immigrants to this country.
Right.
But if immigrants are the problem because of drugs, this is what I constantly hear, the drugs, the cartel. I would implore anyone to think, well, do you think the cartel's coming over the border? I wouldn't. I'd come to the border. But then I want to know who's buying on our side. See, if there's no supply, there's no demand.
Yep.
We have a bunch of old white men over here buying a lot of drugs to disperse within the mafia and this and that and all over to get to the little people.
I've actually covered that. I've covered that myself and said the same thing, that we can say what we want about what they're bringing in this country, but it would not be coming if there wasn't a huge demand for it. Whether it's drugs, whether it is the trafficking of humans, or even cheap labor, there's a huge demand for all of that stuff in this country by Americans.
Well, absolutely, and I always say that I'm a white middle class female. Let's just get that out there. I go drive my kid to school in the morning. I can drive by Lowe's, drive by Home Depot, and I can see 50 to 100 men in the morning waiting for work. Wow. And they wait out there. They get there at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, some of them, they wait. And then construction workers and people, they come, they pick them up, they offer them work. By 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock in the morning, every single one of those men is gone. They're off working, and they get dropped back off at 5:30 or 6 o'clock. They get in their cars and they go home. Do you know who I don't see out there? A single white guy. Not one. I look every time. I'm a middle-aged, middle-class white female. I've been searching for a Caucasian dude to be standing out there waiting for work for years. Never seen one. So I see what the immigrants that are coming over here, you can't speak for everyone or generalize everyone. There's bad apples, there's bad eggs, I get it. Most of these people are coming, they're trying to get over here.
Yeah, it's some bad apples. I get that, and I see. Yeah, you're right. Everything can't be perfect. I see on YouTube, Drizzy Montana saying rapist and housekeeper. So there's a few people. That comment is ridiculous. But yeah, I agree with you.
Like,
go
rapists and housekeepers. I'm like, well, I'm sorry. If we want to get statistically about this, then we should start looking up the race of most predators and people that get picked up for assaying kids. Yep. Let's look at statistically what color, age, and demographic they are. Let's look at where they're from. It's not going to be in the favor of like, oh, yep, look at all these undocumented immigrants. Look at all these Hispanics. I'm sorry, it's your Toms and Franks that live down the street that you think are super nice guys.
Yep, well said.
Where are the orders coming from? Who's buying the people, the drugs, the weapons? They're here in the United States. I would not bring stuff over. I'd bring it too. But they're not. They're acting like the cartel is rolling in hundreds of thousands deep a day. And I'm like, no, they're not coming over here. They're bringing stuff too because we're requesting it.
Yeah. And I would follow, before I move it on, I would follow up agreeing with you by saying, because the demand for what they are sending us is so great, even if you build a wall, Americans are going to find a way to get this stuff over here, because Americans want the cheap labor, they want the fentanyl and drugs, and they want the folks that are being trafficked. They want this stuff. So it's going to come in no matter what.
Yeah, they don't want the Hispanic neighbor. I do. They don't want the Hispanic neighbor, but they certainly want him to come mow his grass for cheaper than the white guy down the street with the landscaping business. So it's a lot of hypocrisy. Personally, surround me with complete diversity. I want to smell all the food. I want to hear all the music. I want to see all the kids out playing. I want I want to see it all. Fly your flag, wear your shirts. I want to hear your music. Nothing thrills me more than to hear music that I'm like, what is that? Where's it coming from? It delights the shit out of me.
I love it. A white woman says she wants to be surrounded by diversity. You've been my guest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a great day, guys.
You too. Surround me with complete diversity. I like that. That's how most Americans should talk. I like that. I really do like that. Looking in the comments, loved her, and I see a lot of favorable comments to my last guest. She's great. She was great. Yeah, wow. I love this woman. Oh my God, you rock. That's crazy. That's a lot of support for HR Gator. Looking in the comments, all of the comments are accolades to her. Real quick, moving on with the program. And by the way, thank you folks for tapping the screen. Over 1,100. Wow. Same on YouTube. Getting the like button tapped on YouTube. The participation is considered. I can't get you guys to smash the like button on YouTube. My audience on YouTube, I think, is a little further to the right. Nevertheless, they are allowed to speak. I don't block, ban, or censor anyone, but the participation is a little bit different. But thank you folks on TikTok as well for tapping the screen. I loved everything until the flag thing. What is the flag thing? CAC. What is the flag thing? YouTube's annoying because you need a profile to like the button. Is that true? I didn't know that. I actually did not know that. I would like to one day be, because with TikTok constantly in jeopardy, with both the right and the left wanting to get rid of TikTok, I would like to expand to other platforms. Plus, the censorship on TikTok is greater, in my humble opinion, than it is on YouTube. So I would like to expand to other platforms, but this is what we have for now, so we will go with it. This isn't live, says Sober Girl. Well, with a name like Sober Girl, it shouldn't surprise me that you don't always know what's live or not. But it is live, Sober Girl. Thank you for the comment. Most of the racism I have seen and experienced hasn't been from white conservatives, and most of them get it, but are too reliant on Trump. Most of the racism I've seen has not been from white conservatives, and most of them get it too, but are too reliant on Trump. I don't get the second half of your statement, but in regards to most of the racism you've seen has not been from white conservatives, that could be true, because the minority crowd with less control over the way the country functions, it's got to be out in the open. But if you have power, you can kind of do things from a standpoint of law. You can be racist. I just want to say it this way. You can be intolerant without actually having to attach it to yourself. I've said this before, that if you are black, or better yet, if you're a white person and you're the victim of racism coming from a minority, it's usually personal violence. It's usually, if you're white and you encounter some racism, it's usually in the form of personal violence. Went to a black neighborhood and they started some shit. Went to a bar or a club and a bunch of black people started some shit. That's generally how whites experience racism from minorities. If you're black and you experience racism from the others, it's usually from government entities, people in power. It's not generally getting your ass kicked from white people. It might be the police keeps messing with me. The bank won't fuck with me. I can't go to this school. It's usually, so it does allow a little bit more disassociation from it. It's not to say that blacks and minorities are not racist as well, but due to the power structure, it has to be implemented in a different way. The racism for minorities is direct. You can see it. They're trying to mess with you. They're trying to rob you. They're trying to hurt you. The racism from whites is generally not as direct. It's like I said, it may be laws, it may be the police. You don't hear too many white people suggesting that a black police officer did something that was racist. You've never seen that. It's generally always a minority with a white cop. Now you may have seen a few lawsuits, a very few, coming from whites alleging discrimination from a black business or entity. Sometimes you see it, but overwhelmingly it's generally the business is white and the person who is claiming victim is a minority. That's generally how the racism works. Both sides experience racism. but the minorities have fewer options to implement it. So it's generally in the form of direct violence. Looking in the comments, just on here yapping, says Les Rena. Shout out to all of the right-wing females I get through the program, because the liberals, Democrats, suggest that Trump has lost the female vote due to the abortion laws. I get a lot of right-wing Trump supporter females. So shout out to all you folks. Obviously, many of you are not favorable of yours truly, and at the end of the day, nobody gives a damn. You're allowed to speak here. But shout out to all my right-wing females. Looking in the comments, I'm half Native American and half Spanish. What do I celebrate? Celebrate your heritage. Whatever, you're Spanish, it could be anything from Spain to Guatemala to Nicaragua to Mexico. Whatever country of origin you're from, you celebrate those entities. And if you're a Native American, you also honor those days accordingly. I mean, you can honor the days of more than one culture. Looking in the comments, I bet you're going back to the bots. DJ Julio, good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Talking about Biden's economy. How bad does it suck for you and your family, DJ Julio?
The economy, well, whoever's economy it is right now, absolutely does suck. Okay. I mean, somebody had mentioned something about their utilities and blah blah blah. Well, all of my utilities have gone up, probably 10%.
Now, do you believe President Biden himself is partially responsible for the increase you're paying?
If anything, it's not indirect. I don't know. I don't know who's responsible for it, because some people will tell you that it's Trump's economy. Some people will tell you it's Biden's economy.
So you don't state with confidence that the reason you're paying more for stuff is Biden's fault. You're still kind of on the fence about it. You don't blame it on Biden.
I'm going to blame it on Biden because I don't like him. But other than that, no, I don't.
Nothing wrong with that. You can, you're free to choose who you want. But that's interesting, because I have not had a guest on today, and I've been trying to bring it out of folks the most I can. I haven't had anybody that's really blaming Biden the way Trump and MAGA typically does for the economy. This is interesting, because come election time, this is what is supposed to hurt Biden, is that he gave us a horrible economy. Even though you state you don't like Biden, you're not even blaming him for the economy wholeheartedly.
Well, here's what I would say. If he plays a part in it, it's because of all the damn money he's sending over to Ukraine, which is going to drive up what we need to have in our tax collective.
Well, let me interrupt. What we're sending to Ukraine is primarily weapons. If we keep those weapons, and a lot of them are in Germany, we're getting them to the front lines pretty quick. Keeping those weapons in Germany is not going to make the price of goods and services cheaper in America. We're not sending them actual cash. They can't do anything with paper on the battlefield. We're sending them weapons.
Well, weapons cost money.
But we already have them.
We had to pay for them, and now that we've given them to somebody else, we got to replace them.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We're sending them stuff that is not.
It's not in my plumbing business. Just because I bought 7,000 feet of pipe doesn't mean if I use that 7,000 feet of pipe, I'm gonna have 7,000 feet of pipe. Yeah. I'm gonna still need to buy more to replace that, Jim. Yeah.
So you believe if we didn't help the Ukraine, the economy in America would be better?
I think if we could have helped, if we would have helped them the right way, I don't think we'd still be in this situation.
Define the right way. What do you mean by the right way?
Well, if we're going to get involved in something, we need to put boots on the ground. If we're going to have a military, pay for a military, train a military, we need to have people on the ground when it's time to fight.
Why would you put Americans in harm's way when Ukraine is doing it?
Why would you put American money in somebody else's bank account so that they can fight a war that we have nothing to do with? Both of them don't make sense to me. You're right.
Well, let me give you why I would push back on that. You say the war we don't have nothing to do with, true, but we are benefiting. A weaker Russia benefits America because our allies in the region are also afraid they may be next if Russia's successful with the Ukraine, which then would force us to put boots on the ground. So if we can weaken Russia with a little bit of money, you don't think we should do it?
Well, what are we doing by doing that? We're creating a hardened enemy. I mean, by helping Ukraine, all we're not doing anything. By getting by sending them weapons, by sending them money, by sending them aid, we're just giving them fish. If we put our boots on the ground, we end the shit, and we tell Putin this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen come November when Trump gets in office. Is he's going to say, here's the deal. The war's over. It ends today. If it doesn't end today, America's going to fight the way that we know how to fight, and we're going to put boots on the ground, and we're going to end you, Putin.
You think Trump, considering how long he's been a friend of Putin, would talk to him that way?
That's exactly why Putin is happy with Joe Biden. He's predictable. Donald Trump isn't. You're damn right he talked that way with him. Look at the way he shakes his hand. He establishes dominance every time he goes in the room with that guy, Putin, or when he goes in the room with Putin.
Yeah, I could not disagree with you more. I believe that Trump and Putin have a friendship, and I believe that Trump would basically withdraw all aid to the Ukraine, and as I think he even joked about saying, you can do whatever the hell you want with them. I believe that's more like what Trump would do. Just make sure you don't expand from the Ukraine. He may say something like that, but I think the Ukrainians would be doomed if Trump got in office. And I don't think MAGA would give a damn about him, because after all, that's not our war.
How many are doomed already because we're sending weapons and not trained military?
There's a lot more to go, though.
Well, yeah, there is. So if we just say, if you want to fight with our friends, then I guess we're all going to fight together, then maybe he would be like, well, I don't want to fight with you. You're the bigger friend in this. I don't want to mess with you, so I'm not going to. And I think with Donald Trump in the office, being as unpredictable as he is, I think that's a good thing, and I think that Putin might just go, I don't think I want to do this fight no more. I got what I did as much as I wanted to, and we'll wait till he's back out of the office, and we'll fight again.
Well, here's the issue I have with your, and you're not the only one that suggested Trump would be a better leader because he's so unpredictable. But here's the issue I have. Trump is not just unpredictable to our enemies. He's unpredictable to us as citizens as well. We don't know what the hell he's going to do either. We're hoping he would go in there, scare the shit out of our adversaries, and do the right thing for this country. But when somebody says something is unpredictable, it means for you too. You don't know what he would do either. And it may not be in our best interest.
Well, I think he's told us what he wants to do. I think he's been pretty honest with us about what his desire is, and it's America first.
Yeah, but that could be by, you don't know what means, or first of all, you can't make the whole country. You say America first, there are going to be people in America that are not going to like what you do, no matter what you do or how you do it. So when he say America first, it may mean a certain group of Americans or a certain class, or you just don't know.
Well, and I think we just need to get past all that. I mean, this frustrates me a lot. This particular topic, because it always does come down to, it's a race conversation a lot of times with people, and it doesn't. We're all Americans here. Tim, you're only black because you have more melanin than me. That's it. I'm never going to call you an African American. I'm never going to call you anything like that. You're a black American to me. You're a good man. You got integrity. You allow the conversation to flow the way it needs to. You allow people to hate. I allow people to hate. I don't care. Hate all you want. It beats me.
It happens.
But with that being said, I want someone with a little bit of a backbone. I want somebody who is going to stand up and fight. I want somebody who's going to put America first, whether it's make America great again or make America great, or 2024.
Here's the issue I have. If you can't even get the guy to care about how people feel because they're roaming around with signs like saying fuck your feelings, if you don't even care how I feel, what makes you think you're going to care about other stuff? I can't even get you to stop insulting me, but I'm supposed to think you're going to do all this other stuff? You won't even stop doing something that you really don't even have to do. You're actually taking pleasure just insulting people. And it's completely unnecessary. If we can't get him to stop doing that, why should we assume he's going to do all this other great stuff?
Well, and you're right. Insults don't get anybody anywhere.
No.
Not me, not you, not anybody. But it does kind of come down to that. We've had that conversation. You asked me about my compassion. You asked me about all that stuff, and I'm a very compassionate person.
But that's you. That's not the commander-in-chief.
At the end of the day, none of our feelings matter.
Yes, it does. Yes, it absolutely
it matters
does.
What we do, our actions matter, not our feelings.
I would understand the suggestion that your feelings don't matter if you had to do something to better this country and if people had an attitude with it. If, for instance, sending money to the Ukraine, if you think it betters this country, yeah, there's a few people that may not like it, but right now their feelings don't matter. America is at risk. But bird brain, sleepy Joe Biden, there is no benefit to America for rallying up people's feelings and doing that. That is just done strictly out of pleasure. 100% unnecessary.
I would push back and I would say, well, Joe is sleepy. Hillary was crooked. You know,
how does America benefit by calling the president sleepy? Tell me, how does that benefit the country at all?
Because it'll educate them to the point where they'll maybe vote for somebody who's not going to be sleepy Joe Biden.
Okay, so based on what you're saying, somebody calling Trump a racist could think the same thing.
Yeah, but he don't give a shit about that because he ain't got his feelings in this. He's got his actions in this. He don't care what people call him.
Yeah.
We do. No, don't get me wrong. His people that want to vote for him, the Republicans that give a shit about him, yeah, they might care about it. Do I care about it? Do a lot of the people I roll with care about it? No, because words are words. Actions are everything, Tim. Like, I can sit here on this live right now, and I can get my feelings hurt because you got something you want to say to me, so you cut me off. I could have be in my feelings about that and never come back. That doesn't affect you. I mean, maybe monetarily because I'm one hell of a gifter.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the support.
But on the second side of that, if I put my whole feelings in it, it's one thing. Now, if you were being rude to me and your actions kept dictating that you didn't give a shit about my opinion, I would not come back. But because you hurt my feelings, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to stay here because you hurt my feelings, because I obviously need to be educated on something. Something you said affected me.
I don't think you and I disagree on the notion that if you keep calling somebody sleepy, it's going to make the other. I mean, because Biden, there's not like unlimited footage of the guy falling asleep. The same thing with little Marco, as in regards to Marco Rubio. I'm going to vote for the other guy because Marco is small. I mean, what is the purpose of this other than to take pleasure on insulting people? You and I vehemently disagree on this. I don't see it.
No. I don't disagree that it's wrong. I don't disagree that it's anti-productive. What I disagree with is that people get all in their feelings about it. What I disagree with is the notion that just because someone called you an asshole, or if you're part of the rainbow, if somebody calls you, a gag, I'll say it that way so I don't get kicked off.
Right. I get what you're saying with the F. I get it.
Yeah. That doesn't mean, oh my God, that's who I am. I mean, if you want to go ahead and soak that up and be that, then that's who you are. But you don't have to be that.
Do you think Trump would employ an administration or favor somebody that was constantly calling him insults, even if they were very productive, very effective? Do you think he would hang around people that were constantly insulting him?
Well, I can just tell you right now, if you don't have the respect for me to talk to me in my business, appropriately, I'm not going to have you in my business. I'm not going to have you in my circle. I'm not going to be part of your friend group. Right. That doesn't mean that you're not welcome to that opinion. That doesn't mean I'm going to treat you differently. I'm just not going to allow you to benefit from anything that I have.
Yeah, I'll just say this. I don't think any of us, I don't care what you do for a living, if you are very effective at your place of employment, but you routinely insult the shit out of your boss or your employees, I don't think you would keep your job. I don't think you would be able to go, but look how effective I think they would get rid of you. I mean, if you walk into the office and you leave everybody angry with each other, I don't think they would keep you on as a staff member, even if you were effective.
Well, You're right. Now, if I am competing against a company in my plumbing business, and I openly say these guys, suck, and oh, by the way, here's some video evidence of how bad they suck. I mean, am I just being rude, or am I being a liar and being rude? Because if I'm just being rude, that's what I mean by get out of your feelings.
No.
If
I
I'm
agree with
and being rude, then that's another thing.
I agree with you saying a company sucks. Biden policies are not good. That's fine. But if you're a plumber and you're calling one of the plumbers at a rival company, your nickname for him is ass crack. That's not acceptable. His ass is always out, so I call him ass crack. No, that's not acceptable. Now, saying that's what Trump does.
That happens all the time in the industry. It really does. I mean, and I could get her feeling about it, or I could just be one of the best plumbers in my city. I can be one of the most busy plumbers in my city, which I am, and I could just give two shits what people think.
No,
I mean,
that's not real world, though, DJ. That's not real. People do care, including President Trump. People do care when you're just blatantly in. You think these folks want to rise to the position of senator, Congress, generals, vice president, to let some dude just insult the hell out of them in front of their family? You think they really want to let that happen? Because he's a good president, we'll just let him say, his wife is better looking than mine, or I got smaller hands than him. You think they're okay with that?
I don't think anybody's okay with being called names. And again, I wouldn't say that I'm okay with people calling me names, but at the same time, I'm not going to be all in my feelings about you calling me names. I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to whine about it.
No, but you may not vote for that person. Listen, I got thick skin as well. I demonstrate it every damn day. But if you're on here calling me the N-word or something like that, and then you show up to my house and say, could you give me some money for gas? Get the fuck out of here. I'm not going to cry about it as you stated. But it will likely cause me to not necessarily favor you because of what you're doing.
What if you invited that guy in for a second and said, yeah, come on in, but I also want to know why you called me the N-word?
People don't think that. I get your point. People don't go that far. When you start acting like that, people are gonna pick somebody that's not calling them the N-word. It's that simple. They're not gonna go that deep.
If you in your platform and me in my platform, if we start talking this way, if we start letting people know that, hey, listen, people are assholes. People have bad days. Maybe the guy was dealing with a black American that was treating him real dirty. Maybe he just got robbed by one, and then he saw you, and you just happened to be the punching bag that day.
And that's the president doing that?
Man, listen, he has been nothing but a punching bag to the Democrats.
Yeah, because he throws so many damn
years.
Yeah, because he throws so many damn punches. By the time he reached the White House, when we say he never gave him a chance from day one, by the time he reached the White House, he had already been punching Obama for several years, saying he was born in Kenya. The man hits a lot of people. That's why he gets attacked all the time. He does a lot of attacking himself.
He does.
Yeah.
He does. He's backed into a corner. What are you doing? You're backed into a corner.
He was backed into a corner when he said, Colin Kaepernick, get that son of a bitch off the field, when Colin Kaepernick wasn't even talking about him, or saying that Obama was...
He was disrespecting the America, yeah. I did. You know what? I was pissed at Kaepernick. I will not. We live in America. If you want to hang your flag upside down, if you want to burn your American flag, if you want to do those things, go do those things. But I will not be a part of your wealth.
But here's what I don't understand. An athlete takes a knee, so it's disrespecting the American flag.
What are you supposed to do when you do the flag?
Huh?
When the national anthem's going, what's the routine?
You stand up, put your hands on your heart?
Yep. So at that point, if you're not doing that, you're disrespecting America.
So how do you feel, and I've showed the video on my live streams, Trump had a rally, I think he's done this at several rallies. Please stand up and rise for the poorly treated January 6th hostages. And they play the anthem. He stands up. He doesn't put his hands over his heart as you talk. He actually salutes while these folks are actually incarcerated saying the national anthem. I'm assuming you think that's not disrespectful at all.
Well, first I'm going to go to the salute. What would make it wrong for him to salute?
Who salutes when the anthem is playing? It's the wrong procedure.
The president in chief, military.
Salutes? They salute
military
while the
don't.
anthem is playing?
Military don't?
No, I've never heard anybody saluting when do they do that?
Sorry, I got a phone call.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right.
And around here, South Dakota,
Okay.
every time I've been to a funeral, every time I've been to anywhere where the national anthem's played, anytime we're showing respect to America, our Air Force men, our National Guardsmen, every time I've seen them salute.
Okay, so you're saluting the anthem and singing the song with folks who are in jail for going in the Capitol building. You're okay with that. That's the backdrop of this song. He's singing the anthem with folks who are in prison for attacking the Capitol building. How is that patriotic?
Because it's patriotic to shake the tree of liberty if you feel it's needing to be shaked. We've talked about this.
Okay, so breaking windows and you thought that's what you referred to the Capitol protest as shaking the tree of liberty?
I do.
Hanging Mike Pence, that's shaking the tree.
Well, I don't think he got hung, but
Threatening to do it, that's shaking the tree of liberty.
if they think they need to remove the bad actors, yeah, this is their right because we live in America. This is their right.
But Julio, is based on something they still 3 years later can't even prove it's true. They shook the tree of liberty for what? What was the purpose they were there?
I would have never done it, but I'm not mad at them for expressing the way that they expressed.
So how do you respond to folks like in the comments that says, so taking a knee is not shaking the tree of liberty? They believe racism is a problem. They don't get to shake the tree?
Well, you're benefiting from an American sport that pays stupid, exorbitant amounts of money to run up and down a field while we can't get our military or not military.
What does the money you have to do with whether there's, you could be rich and still be a victim of racism or whatever he's protesting. The amount of income you make has nothing to do with whether there's democracy or not.
Right. Okay, that's fair. But if you get on TV, you've got to be, most of the time, if you're a journalist, you've got to be non-biased. You've got to be open to both sides. He is a celebrity that is followed by millions that is playing a sport that is provided by America. He should be standing with America always. If he wants to protest after his job.
You're saying that if you are a celebrity and you get on TV, you got to be open to both sides. But the president, it's okay for him to talk about red states and blue states and separate you're holding a celebrity to a higher standard than the president, that gets on TV and regularly insults everybody. He doesn't even do that. As the president of the United States, he doesn't measure up to the standard that you just handed down to a football player.
But how does he not?
He doesn't. What did you just say?
He had a good 4 years. If it was up to him, we would have stayed open through COVID, which was an absolute farce. That's gonna get me kicked. I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. If that is a farce, we know what you're talking about now. If that ailment is a farce, then why is Trump telling people to get vaccinated?
Well, I haven't heard that he is, but
he's on videos. Sure. Not only did he say get vaccinated, he said it works.
The flu shot works.
No, the vaccine. Trump said get vaccine.
Right. I get what you're saying, but the flu shot works. Why wouldn't he if he thinks that works? When I say it's a farce, it was brought out to be bigger than it was.
Then why is he telling you to get vaccinated for a farce?
The same reason he would tell you to get your flu shot. That's all this thing is it's a form of flu.
Well, we believe the flu, but we don't believe the flu is a farce. We believe this is a farce. So why am I getting vaccinated for a farce?
The farce isn't the 19. The farce is the way that they presented how dangerous it was. I mean, when you look at the amount of people that passed because of that versus the amount of people that passed because of the flu the year before, the numbers are similar, Tim. The numbers are really similar. So if the numbers are similar, how is it any worse? Why is it all of a sudden a pandemic?
This is where I'm willing to, plead ignorance and admit I don't, this is above my knowledge, but I will say this. I don't have virology knowledge. I don't have any medical background. If the entire medical community, I'd say at least about 80 to 90% of them are saying the same thing about this virus, and the local garbage man is telling me, no, it ain't worse than the flu, I'm going to go, or the janitor is saying you don't need to get vaccinated, I'm going to go with the medical community. In the medical community, overwhelmingly were suggesting that it was bad, that their intensive care units were filled. You got funeral homes that could not even give you an appointment for a funeral because they were overbooked. But yet, folks who have no medical background, well, it's not really that bad. It ain't worse than the flu. What am I supposed to go with? Outside the hospital, because I was working in the ICUs when it was happening. I was actually working, taking beds and supplies to these hospitals. I'm pulling up in a straight truck to drop off supplies. Here is a refrigerated truck that they don't park there to put bodies in. The next day I come, the truck is gone and they got a new one. What am I supposed to do when I see that? Is a hospital lying and just renting morgue trucks for the fun of it?
Is it impossible to think that it's possible?
Is it impossible to think that they're just renting this for the fun of it?
Do you think that it's possible that the medical community and the pharmaceutical community stand to gain so much money that they wouldn't lie to do everything they could to make sure they made that money?
I think that you are right. There are people in the medical community who will lie their ass off to make money, but they'll never be in sync to that level. I don't think you would ever have that large portion of the medical community all working in sync to push a lie. Not at that level, I don't think.
Well, I can tell you out of the what is it? This be my 7th year doing DJ service for our medical board around South Dakota. 80% of them only got the vaccine because it was their job or the vaccine.
Well, I'm just saying the people who were speaking like it was only no worse than the flu or the vaccines were unnecessary, the overwhelming majority of them were not part of the medical community. And like I say all the time, I'm not a doctor, so if I'm going to trust some medical advice, I'm going to go to the community, not my not my local security guard.
Right. No, I agree. My sister-in-law is a certified nurse practitioner. Only thing she can't do is surgery. And she made sure to make sure I did not allow the school board to require my children to get the vaccine. She made sure that me and my wife did not get the vaccine.
Okay.
Her and her dad got in a big ass fight because he got the vaccine. And I can tell you he has had nothing but more trouble and more trouble and more trouble every year since then.
Well, here's the issue I have with
that he's suffering from, that he's never been around or near, or the clotty worm style blood clots that they're pulling out of his body. My niece, that's happened the same thing to. I've seen some shit from people who have been taking the vaccine versus people who've had COVID and
I believe you, but this is what I would tell you. If you gave 10 million people an aspirin, you're going to have a rise in some type of ailment that's related to an aspirin. The fact is, over half of this country, like 150 million people, have been vaccinated. If that stuff was harmful, it would be a lot more than just your sister and a few other people. That should be, I had somebody tell me I would be dead in the winter of 2021 for getting boosted. There should be bodies everywhere. If that stuff was as dangerous as people are saying, you wouldn't be to hide all the bodies. I mean, it is simply too many people. The quantity of people on the planet that has been vaccinated, if there was a major issue, because of the amount of people that has gotten this in such a short time, it should be bodies and sicknesses everywhere. You can't point to a few people here or there. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense to you because you live in a bigger per capita place than I do. You're right. You're 100% right. Also where you're right is that, you give 10 people, the vaccine and, 9 might be okay. But out of those 9, 5 of those might have just got a placebo because they were doing that shit too.
Okay, well, like I said, I haven't seen any evidence of that. I've been vaccinated and boosted every time my doctor told me. I've never had COVID in my life, and I don't have any side effects or anything. Maybe 20 years from now it'll come up and there'll be a commercial. Did you get vaccinated 20 years ago? Call this attorney at such and such number. But right now, I've heard a lot of stuff coming from the right as far over as Q, saying that this stuff was way more, just like you said, it's not worse than the flu or it's not that harmful, it's a farce. The right is making it sound like getting high, and that is completely false.
Well, I mean, that's they're getting paid more money than I am to listen to people who get paid more money than I am.
You don't need to get paid any money, Julio. Where's the bodies? If this stuff was that dangerous, like when COVID was active, funeral homes had nowhere to give people an actual burial because they were booked with appointments. I mentioned the morgue trucks outside of the hospitals. If the vaccine was as bad as people saying, those morgue trucks should still be there. There should be very few beds in hospitals because people are sick, having issues like you said your sister is. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Right. My niece, not my sister.
Niece. Yeah, it's not happening though. You don't hear nurses and doctors who are in the trenches dealing with sick people every day talking about, we don't even have any room to deal with all of these vaccine casualties. They were saying that about COVID. They're not saying that about the vaccine. And we're talking 4 years out. That should tell you everything you need to know.
Well, all it takes is a stroke of a pen on a piece of paper to say what the cause of death is, Tim. Remember that.
Yeah. But you can't hide the bodies. You can lie. You can say all these vaccine deaths or heart attacks or liver failure or whatever, but you can't hide the sheer number of people dropping dead. And that's not happening. You don't have people dropping dead everywhere.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get your point 100%. There's like when you talk, Tim, I understand you 100%. I understand where you're coming from. I'm just coming from where I'm coming from.
All right.
What I will say to your vaccine and your booster, you said something, several lives ago that has stuck with me. That I kind of when I talk to people about listening to you, I tell them all the time, I listen to the handsome liberal. He's kind of like Trump. Never has drank, never has smoked, never has done drugs. And you know what? The way that you treat your body like a temple is probably why you've seen no side effects.
I don't treat it like a temple. I eat the wrong foods all day, every day. But no, I've never had alcohol, never had tobacco, never had any drug or marijuana, no. But I do eat the wrong foods.
Mm. And I do. I mean, people are saying you're nothing like Trump. I do. I think you're a lot like him. You're outspoken. You say what you want to say. I appreciate that.
Anytime. Julio, I do got to move it on, but man, thank you. Good talk.
Yeah, that was
good
conversation.
Absolutely. All day, every day. In the comments, Vic Perez says that's a lie. You believe I'm lying about injustice. Why would there be any benefit to lie and say at 51 you've never had an alcoholic beverage? I mean, that makes me look like a nerd, even though I don't mind admitting I am nerdy as hell. But no, never had a wine cooler, not even a beer. Not a cigarette, never tried marijuana. But I've eaten all types of greasy foods. I love my fish. I love my fried chicken. You know, I like to eat, shit that tastes good. And the shit that tastes good is not in our best interest. Nevertheless, so what did I say? So why isn't Guest mad at Trump for pushing the vaccine? Well stated. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. I do got to get back to my day job. You know how the program works. 139,000 likes. Always a pleasure. Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Central. Every Monday through Friday, we're here. Follow the program. Smash that like button on YouTube. Wow, you guys got it up to 50. Thank you, my YouTube viewers. Feel free to drop a subscription if you do enjoy civilized dialogue, both sides of the aisle. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their opinion. You don't have to agree with anyone on the program, including yours truly. We challenge you on your opinions, but we never silence you. Catch you guys tomorrow. Thank you. And for my YouTube viewers, what did that say here? Why were blacks better off during Jim Crow laws? Who the hell would ask that? How about the destruction of the nuclear black family when government started subsidizing and giving incentives for single black motherhood? It did hurt the nuclear family. I don't disagree that welfare hurt the nuclear family, but Without welfare, it's not like, well, I'm going to do you a favor and not give you shit. I don't want to give you welfare because it'll hurt. They shouldn't have passed a law that suggested if a mom receives welfare, the dad cannot be in the house. That should not have been passed. That's what ruined the nuclear family. But the welfare was needed. When the welfare laws are created, you're talking right at the end of, right when blacks started getting civil rights is when that stuff came around. So clearly, before blacks had civil rights, their earning potential was exceptionally limited. They needed welfare. I mean, the country was literally designed to keep black people in poverty. So when welfare became available, that was during an era, concluding an era where it was literally designed to keep blacks in poverty. Just about everybody black probably needed a little bit of welfare back then. But they should not have passed a law making it so the father had to leave the house. The object was, if we're going to give out welfare, the man should be out working somewhere, and they shouldn't need welfare. But if he's not in the house, then we assume the mom is struggling on her own and we'll give them welfare. It was sexist. It was a sexist law. The man should always be working. And men can struggle too. That still exists today, where welfare is easier for women to get than it is for men. Men can fall on hard times as well. It's not always a guarantee that a man won't need help and a woman will. So, but that's where that came from. But I do appreciate that input. Looking at the comments real quick before we move it on. The country was not designed to keep blacks in poverty. How could you not see that? You're banning them from schools. You're banning them from professions. You won't lend money to black. I mean, how the hell could you not see the country? I mean, all of the ways you make money was laced with avenues that were closed and off limits to black people. How do you see the country as not keeping blacks in poverty? You can't go to the best schools because they don't accept Negroes. You can't buy property in certain areas that might actually turn into an investment and be valuable for you. I mean, you can't take out loans because many institutions don't function. I mean, like, how could you not see that? There's one thing. Listen, I plead ignorance when I don't know shit all the time. But I don't believe you're being ignorant on this. This is literally turning a blind eye to something. Literally, all sorts of opportunities were available to non-blacks, non-minorities, that they were able to in turn become wealthy. When they started taking land from the Native Americans, they only handed it to white people. So you can land is a big way to develop a legacy. You can pass it down to your kids. Land continues to increase in value. Well, if only one group owns all the land and the other group doesn't have access to it, I mean, a lot of whites get land for free. Some of them folks still have that land in their family. You're going to tell me the country was not designed to keep blacks in poverty? That's insane that you don't see that. To align with your argument, then only passing laws where only landowners could vote, which is another way to keep blacks down, because now you have no say-so in the damn government, because only landowners were allowed to vote for a large portion of American history. I don't believe, to make a comment like that, you're ignorant on that. I do believe that is a deliberate effort to turn a blind eye on reality. I don't think anybody would say something like that and truly mean it. That's not out of ignorance. That's out of turning a blind eye. That's how a lot of that stuff continued. Just say it ain't so. Say it ain't true. I know the neighborhood we're making blacks live in is 10 times shittier than where we live. They don't have the resources in their neighborhood. We don't allocate enough to fix their streets. But I'll turn the blind eye and say they got their neighborhood, we got our neighborhood. Everything's fair. That's how you do it. You deliberately turn a blind eye to it and make it sound like it's no problem when you know it actually is. The country was not designed to keep blacks in poverty. Wow. Anyhow, I could keep this live going for another 2-3 hours on that topic, but appreciate you folks tuning in. It is your boy Tim, the handsome liberal, uncensored. Catch you tomorrow.